Welcome to Change Coach conversation number 11, zooming in and zooming out. So, this idea of zooming in and zooming out, this is something we do a lot as change coaches. And it's really, I feel, where this understanding, coaching from this perspective, from this no willpower approach, from this bigger understanding that we all are healthy and have everything we need, where we're looking toward the form, but also the formless essence of all of life. This tool, if you will, it's not exactly a tool, but this way of working with people where we're zooming in and zooming out, I think is really what helps this stand apart from anything else. This is so powerful. And again, it's just as a reflection of how this approach is already very, very different. So it's really just like it sounds. When we're with a client and we're zooming in a sense, we're talking to them as a separate individual, as a person, as we just tend to look and feel in life, right? We're saying, "Hey, Becky, how's it going? How was your morning? How's that issue with your mother-in-law?" Becky is talking about the form. She's talking about her psychology. She's saying, "It's a great day. It's a bad day. Here's what's going on for me." We're very much zoomed in to kind of the person and their psychology. And we build a lot of rapport there. We find out a lot there as coaches. We're looking for like what's going on here. It's just a very natural, normal, like this is the level of a natural, normal human conversation. A non-coaching conversation is sort of zoomed in a sense in this level. Now, there's an even deeper, much deeper zooming in that we do, but that's a little advanced. So I'll keep that for later. But in this sense, zooming in again is just kind of talking at the level of form to an individual about the ins and outs of their life. Now, zooming out is when we are kind of leaving Becky and Becky's psychology and we're looking at things in a much bigger way. So a zoomed out conversation, this is where Becky's saying, "Oh, my mother-in-law, she's driving me crazy and I was up all night and all of that." And we're zooming out to see kind of what's going on from this bigger perspective. Oh, there's a racing mind. Oh, there's a mind trying to solve for things. There's some feeling happening. Maybe that feeling is being resisted. This is that bigger picture that we know. This is no longer kind of in the details and in the weeds of Becky and Becky's life, although we go in and out of that all the time. So we're zooming in and zooming out all the time. But when we're zoomed out, we're looking at this in a much bigger picture way. Everything Becky's experiencing is 100% universal. It's not really about her and her mother-in-law. Now, that's the story her mind is telling. But what we know as coaches is that she's just feeling these whooshes of thought and they're coming to life. And there's a certain reaction to that. So that's what I mean by zooming out. That's when we're helping our clients see things from a universal, impersonal kind of perspective so they get that bigger picture of what's really going on. Now, when we work with someone, we're always doing both. If we're too zoomed in, and there is no better or worse, okay? I think it's really easy to think, oh, zoomed out is where it's at. And it is true, I believe, that zoomed out is where this conversation really gets its impact. This is where we're different from any therapist. Any traditional psychology therapist is super zoomed in, right? You're talking to a person, you're in their psychology, and you're trying to unravel their psychology. What we do is not that. We go to a person, we build rapport, we're human, we hear about their psychology, that's wonderful and we need it. And then we zoom it out and help them see it in this bigger perspective. We help them see their experience in an impersonal way. We point them toward the formless nature of what's going on, not just keeping them caught up in the form. So I hope you can kind of get a feel of how, either one, if we were to only camp out in either one, it wouldn't be as effective. So I'm stereotyping here a little bit, generalizing, but traditional psychology, in a sense, is just super zoomed in and they hang out there. They stay there. So it's, tell me you're a separate individual. Tell me about your psychology. We're going to try to fix that or do something with it. That's traditional psychology and it's very zoomed in. And it misses the mark in the sense that it keeps people just spinning their wheels in their own thoughts, using their own thoughts to try to change their own thoughts. And it just isn't that great. It doesn't have the benefit of zooming out and seeing things in a bigger, universal, impersonal way. Zoomed out, if we were to only stay zoomed out, that's kind of more, and again, this is just a generalization, but if you just go follow some spiritual teacher, maybe, or like a very extreme non dual kind of teaching, there's no person. They won't speak to a person because they know there is no person ultimately. And so in psychology, it's just sort of a story. It's just what's happening. So it's like in this really zoomed out way, everything is impersonal and everything is big picture and universal. And that has some benefit, just like being zoomed in, and psychology has benefit. But the problem there, if you just hang out there, is people have a hard time. First, they don't really feel heard or seen because they identify as an individual. So, hey, let's talk about my life. Like, let's talk about my mother-in-law because that's on my mind. So we miss that rapport. We miss that natural kind of connection that comes from talking at a normal sort of human level. But also, like these zoomed out concepts and big ideas, I 100% believe that they're absolute truth, but they're hard for people to kind of see. And even when they see them, sometimes they don't necessarily see them in relation to their life. So these ideas can feel true in a big picture way, but they don't seem practical to a lot of people. They don't really impact their life because they just sort of see it in a vague, way that doesn't relate to them. So again, this is the beauty. I just think this is so huge and so important. We're doing both. When we're talking with a person, we're zooming in, we're meeting them where they are, we're connecting, we're hearing about their psychology, and then we're pulling out and showing them the big picture. And then we're zooming back in and helping them see these ideas that a mind just does what it does. Here's how that applies to you and your mother-in-law. Here's how that works here. This is where this gets to be incredibly powerful and practical, where people leave our sessions really onto these universal truths, but also seeing how that can impact their life. And if that's not happening, what's the point? We can philosophize all we want in the zoomed out place, but if it doesn't do anything for you, you're just philosophizing. And we can sit and spin our wheels in psychology, but that's not where it's at. So it's just amazing to kind of get this bigger perspective, go in and out. And I've just seen this be incredibly, incredibly helpful for people. And again, this is where we're different. And I think this is really where our power is. So I get excited about this one. Thanks for listening. If you want to see more about zooming in, zooming out for yourself, you would have such an amazing personal development experience learning to be a coach. And especially if you want to be able to talk about this stuff and support people, friends, family, people in your current work. So many people come through the training and they're in education or HR or healthcare, and they bring this to their work. And then there are also people who want to do this as their work. Anyway, it's an incredible program. So check it out and let me know if you have questions.